of all of the loves I recall. There are many who live in my memory, but you were the sweetest of all. Sometimes I still think about you. Sometimes I wish that you'd gone. Sometimes I feel like you're lying.
Matema alonga higit tuwe Aho eni ahoe whakatete He kungolangi taua hono whinangalo He matema atonga ki horoto.
Oh
Mo toki mea mai ia ki he mate maatonga hono o atu ko ia e tau whanau. Kou whakamalo atu ki he tonga mo e vulangi ko toa pe o ku kau mai ki he polokalama e ahoni pe a ku o fia he kou tui te uheni mo toko ua ko ia ko Frank Goof kalama pe a oh my gosh mea whakafia moni ko e Frank o tō haki whainga maari ka ke si kau mai ki e polokalama e ahoni pe a ku iai ai fu fia makehe mooni ko uhinga ko kau mai ki he tala noa o e fiafini. Kai tuku mua ke u whakawheiloa ki atu a e taumua pea mo uhinga o e polokalama ko e ni ki he ni ihi ko ia o ku mai. Ko e tongen youth athletes e ni ko e polokalama sporti e ni ma e tau whanau. Pea o koutui ko e polokalama ko ni te utoki lawe pe ki ai ki he ne ngahi whakotu me he kuohiri. Pea ko e polokalama whako ni ko e polokalama fuoloa pe ka ko fuoloa tau hono ta e whakahoko atu. Ka ku iai e fia he mau ha whainga maari e ke toe whoki atua e polokalama. Hange ni he taimini haki younger brother o e Tongan pro athletes ai a kuanga maheni ku mau whalere atu mo Tim Manoa ka ma pio mo ngaloa mo Caroline pea koutui ko e tau talanoa ko toa pe ki e tau whanau ko e kau ia he fu talanoa mahu inga pea koutui o ku ilo he tonga ko toa pe ai tareniti si poti ko ia o e tau whanau. Pea o ku lahi e ngahi mea te mau talanoa ki ai, pea hengo mea nau lawe ki ai ko whakamalo i he heni e toko ua ko ni, ke ma popo talanoa atu ke mahu inga o e tau whanau. Pea puke hape, hani ihi hanga hingoa o e whanau, te mau lawe ki ai ko e wheitu eni, te tauhanga o tua ki ai, pia tau whiilonga ki ai, ki e ngahi whanau tonga, i e ngahi vahe ke kehe, whanua ke kehe, o ku nau si i whenga i he malae o e sipoti. Tau ilo whoki kua e ngahi whainga maarie, ki e mauha ngahi whainga maarie ako. Pakai whoki ngā tai, o ku iai mo fu mahu inga ia, ke more aonga ki ai, ai taimi o e tau whanau ka e oua te nau hanga ki a ngai mea e uesi ai e nau moui. E kainga te mauto e lawe foki ki he ngahi tawhaaki o ku tokoni ai e sipoti ki he nau tuunga whakaako whakata mai. Ia e taimi lahi e tau tupu i tonga o ku pehe he mātua ni o ku whepaki pe o kuhanga he sipoti o to o atu e taimina e mei aongangi ki he ako. Pe a koutui koe platform koe Amerika o kunehanga o omi o mahu inga au pito e sipoti. Pe a o kune pou au pito Amerika ia ke mua. Education first. Ae ako pea toki mui mai ai sipoti. Ko ngahi mea kotoa pe kau ki he ni te mapo tala noa ki ai, pea ko sendi atu e link ki he ni o kau coach e kau wahe whanua ke, mo ki kakai, ku mau whaatala noa e whareni, pea ku atape ki he tonga kotoa, te ke fie hu mai ke tau tala noa, te usiofi pe, ai mau, ai ope ka ia taha floto ke usendi atu ki ai e link o ku fufi e mau ia he koe tala noa koe ni koe whakatau mua pe ki he tau whanau pea mo e sipoti mo ngahi aonga mo e whenga pea au pe o mautuaki atu ha whanki whanau ke tau poupou ki ai pea mo ilo ki ai iai ni tokolahi o gaya mo ngai whamiri o ku tuki mua e nau sipoti, nau ke i tupu ake, ke i tau taha tolu, tau taha nima, o alu ai pe o au ke ngai kolisi. Kai tuku mua ke tuku ko whawhelo ake atu ki maua, te ula ki whawhelo ake atu pe au, ko kuhingoa ko siwaki rivai, o ku iloa pe au ko coach rivai, be a mei Hawaii, ai a na u fua whatongia e ako maalunga ko i a Kahuku High School, na u hoko ko hawhai ako fika, ta ui a e tolunga furu mātolu, pia kai ke ngā tai ko retire mai mei ai, o si a ta ue wanoa, e ku kaunga tāma ki he coach he football for Amerika, ka mai sporti, mo e rugby, mo ngai mea kehe, pia o kou i Salt Lake City he taimini, o ku whenga ke uhiki mai mo ku whamiri, mo ku whanau, pea koutui ke toki talanoa ka Frank, whika waki mo hawhangi whainga maari e whakangau e ki ui ngā koe whanau, kai ke. Kai tuku mua ke hok toko ua koe ni, ke ne whahoko atu ia, pea toki hoko atu e matalanoa. Malo apito. Unmute mai.
Hey, Coach.
Thank you for coming, man. You saved my day.
You know, I was named after Frank Kalama.
Wow. Yeah.
He served a mission in New Zealand in the early 60s. And my grandmother, Funaki, Busiaki him for 2 years back then. You know, I've been blessed enough to be reared and to live in Laie and to go to Kahuku for my freshman year from San Diego. You know, a lot of people don't realize that San Diego area is a hotbed for sports. Back in those times, Coach, we used to have the Tai Toughers, the Saliamuas, the Ionos, and it was huge. And you know, during those times, Marcus Allen and his brother were running the streets back then.
Yes.
Mele and Topui Otowafi, when they left BYU, they settled their family down there in San Diego before they voyaged over to Salt Lake. But I too had some opportunities with Tim. I used to be the assistant for Junior Seau for 12 years. I started his foundation at his home prior to him graduating from SC into the NFL. I did some intro stuff with Vili Fehoko and bringing Junior and a bunch of the guys to the Pro Bowl back in '92. Had an opportunity to come to PCC for the first time, and Tamai Tokoua, and wanted to see if we can reach out and get together with Junior. But some of the greatest athletes that have come out of Southern California, they actually came in from Hawaii. You know, Hawaii's Kahuku is probably one of the greatest high school programs probably in the world to bring athletes of our culture, in particularly our Tongan, to the NFL. But Coach, I'm so proud of what you're doing to elevate not only our people, our families that have brought their kids. I grew up in San Diego. Vice Sikahema used to come over when we were all hupe back in the days, in the early, even late 70s, early 80s. They used to come to San Diego and have Christmas with our family. Vai's grandmother, To'ila, and my grandmother, Funaki, their father is Iki Tapo Furivai, and that's our great-grandfather from the Samps, the Mans, all those families. We were able to be, our parents are all first cousins and play music. But Coach, what a blessing. I know that you've done some great things in the community. You know, living in San Diego and watching what you did there to bring a state championship to Kahuku is something we'll never forget. When Sione Fehoko left Kahuku and came to San Diego, him and Junior Seau were co-MVPs Player of the Year, junior from the North San Diego, and Sonefe Hoko from the South, Chula Vista High School. There's a lot of history with Kahuku, a lot of history with our families. I'm so proud. You know, Tim Manoa came down to one of our functions we had at the Seau Foundation with Kirk Ovea, Alfred Papunu, Pitui Pelotu, Alema, Rich Kafusi, Alema Fitsamanu. These guys were all in minicamp. It just goes to show you the rich tradition. Coach, thank you. This is all I wanted to contribute, is just to document these things that have happened over the last couple decades, if you will. And I'm just so proud of you. Having gone to Kahuku for 1 year, I'm so proud of what you've done. It's one of those feats that could never be duplicated, but it was the right combination that you brought together with your humility and your serving of Al Kakai. And you continue to do that to this day. I pay homage to you, Coach. And I'm thankful to have people like you elevate our people, even to this very day. Ofatu.
Frank, I appreciate you so much. I've been meaning to call you. I got your number from Felipe, and things just kind of got in the way. I'm glad you came in today, because you have so much to contribute to the table that I think that we need as we network ourselves who's in the field of sports, because of the benefit of our youth. And as you mentioned, once we in it, I'm in it for life. You know, I may be retired as a coach, as a math teacher from Kahuku High School, trying to make establish here in Utah. Many people have asked, and including myself, how am if I was going to ever leave Kahuku. You know, it was my statement, Red Raider for life, you know, back in 1996. And I had my reasons that why I printed that about 2,000 T-shirts, because I was a firm believer that it was a special community, and there was something there that, that I felt like the Lord has a mission there, and especially for our people, the Pacific Islanders, there. But Frank, I hope you can stay with me as long as you can tonight, you know, and I know you're a very busy man, but the minutes that you'll be here, I appreciate that. You know, we started this, and I had Tim Manoa was with me last time, and when he has time, and I have from Texas, Vakalahi from and David Vimahi now is representing from Kahuku, and we got people all over, but anyway, but to have you and what you have experienced is another level, and then another approach that is needed as we try to encourage our athletes, and to give out some of our knowledge about the tips that they could use, especially our parents who's new to the field. And I think with this platform weekly, this is the established time that I have committed to confirm. I think we'll be able to build, a platform where we can train or share our knowledge and encourage our people and bring them together. As you know, I have a Kingdom Bowl, Samoa Bowl, Tonga Bowl, all serving different purposes. I've done it for, of course, the first one, 2002, with Halotingata and Will Tukuafu and Fui Vakapuna, to name a few on that team that I took to Tonga, Te Whaiva. I am bringing back the Kingdom Bowl, back to Tonga, to the roots, and as soon as the border opens up, we're trying to have a 20th reunion next year, in 2022. I've talked to inform Halotingata and Fui Vakapuna and many about it because that's 20 years ago. Next year is when we were in Tonga, you know. So basically, I hope it will open up where we can, that's a great beginning. Of course, I'm going to continue to do the Tonga Bowl in the States, California, and definitely in Utah. But when you talk about San Diego, man, you know, there's one thing that that stood out to me. I'm sure you're aware of Morris High School, which was a powerhouse back then. You know, for the many of my success, I owe it to Morris High School. They took the time to come over to Hawaii almost every year, you know, to just, you know, that coach had a vision beyond just the football. Of course, they had a winning tradition and they were a powerhouse in California. And, you know, my second season, I think my third season, I invited them. It was the 99, and I felt like I needed to expose ourselves, Kahuku, outside of the island only. And we were given 2 preseason games every year. And I happened to book Morris High School and Banning High School from LA. I took the challenge and raised the bar, and I felt like in order to be recognized, I gotta get out of this rock and get some big names. I took that challenge, Frank, and I brought them to Kahuku. I don't think they knew what they were coming into. It's kind of emotional because it was in a plan. It was a long year plan to try to, compromise a lot of things so that they will accept the invitation to come over to Kahuku football field, even though it wasn't the type of updated field that they used to, just to play. It was a back-to-back. Morris was the first one, came in there, and when we beat them, it was a big accomplishment, and it helped expose Kahuku High School. Now
let me explain a little bit about that. Coach Shack is the coach at Morris. Morris High School and Lincoln Prep are 2 of the most prominent schools in the South. Oceanside and El Camino and Carlsbad were prominent up north. So I remember that year you beat them because they went undefeated that year on the mainland.
Yeah.
They lost to Kahuku, and it was one of their doom and gloom. But yes, I remember that. Coach Shack was. I was good friends with one of his coaches, so I knew. Marcus Allen went to the rival school. That was Lincoln Prep.
Yes.
So Waki, you did some wonderful things. I mean, that was a feat in itself. They were shocked. They were ohovale. They couldn't believe it that your linemen were blowing them up.
Frank, when they came in, they were very humble boys, great coach. Like you said, he was a disciplined coach, and, I learned a lot from them. And when they left town, I know that every win that they had, it helped us because that was the first year any public school in Hawaii break into the top 10 of the ranking, national ranking, And I know it's because of Morris High School and Banning,
Yep.
because everything that Morris High earned that year, we benefited from it, and after that win, when Banning came to town, they were pre-picked to win, the LA, league. And I don't think they respect us at all. I don't think they respected Morris, knowing that we beat Morris. I remember Frank's I'm on my boys to be humble, to stay focused. As they took the field, it was new to us because these boys are from, hey, they from LA, bro. They had their boombox music carrying over their shoulders from the bus to the locker room. They were dancing, walking across the field. We sat there and just kind of watched from, the window of our locker room. And, I mean, these guys walk in there like it's their house. I remember using that pep talk to my players, to watch their attitude and they deserve so because they're from the big city. Everybody knew who they were. Nobody really know us. We haven't done anything. So yes, well, the game we really blew them away, and I can say blew them away because it was a lopsided score, and we had Talamoni as our running back, and I had Tony Fonoti. My whole line was D1, William Sao, tight end at Utah, my son Siwaki Jr. I mean, these guys were, of course, Tony Fonoti at Nebraska, I don't think these boys from LA realize what Kahuku had, But it's funny that you brought up that, that San Diego area because forever Coach Zach and them, if they did not accept the invitation and if I did not play Morris and Banning, I don't think we would rise as soon as we did, or maybe not at all, because as soon as they came, every success they did in LA, we were benefited from it. And so was San Diego area. But I'll let you talk about those because you were shoulder to shoulder with some of the top. I mean, when you talk about Junior Seau, when you talk about Marcus Allen, when you talk about these guys was above the top elite in the whole world. And I like to share your experience because your connection, your knowledge is needed as we bring together to build. I am planning with some key people from Tonga, especially the patron of the Tongan. It's called the Tongan Gridiron, which I am the president of the American football in Tonga, the sports in Tonga. So had been for a while, and guess what? Every sport have their patron, Matematonga and the Ikaretahi, you name it. You know what, Frank? I am so lucky to share this with you because many have had their eyes and their mind of approaching the Crown Prince, Prince Ulukalala, to be their patron. Somehow, some way, I was blessed to spend some time with him, and he did accepted my invitation, and he is our patron of the Tongan Gridiron with our letterhead that as we moving slowly forward to build American football in Tonga to be played from community teams. I have chosen to go with the communities instead of the schools because of some of the problems that I try to avoid of the past with the school competition. And I think that was the easiest way. Anyway, 2017, I started the first season in Tonga with 4 teams to play each other with a season. But what I'm getting at is we are planning something huge in the United States that we'll reveal later. But I am so happy to have you part of all of this because I know a lot about you, more than you know, Frank, of who you are and what you do. As you know, that when I coached Sione Fehelko as freshman, sophomore in Kaugu, he knows, he remembers.
Oh, yeah.
Wilson, Kawaka. I mean, those are my backfield. That's right following after Tim Manoa and Lakehe Muli. I mean, can you imagine fullback, tailback, and then when I was coaching, Wilson was Kawaka was the fullback and Sione was the tailback, I mean, and when you know these people and the guys who don't know who I'm talking about, these guys are unreal kind of guys, But anyway, please, I would like you to share some of these, these things as, it means a lot for you to bring that part of the table. A lot of them will talk about L.A. and Salt Lake, but yes, San Diego. Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Frank.
I feel humbled that a Samoan would ask a Tongan to work in his organization. I feel blessed. It was because of Alema Patisa Manu, my brother-in-law, and Rich Kafusi. They were down at mini camp with the Chargers. And Junior so mata ofa, because they were polys, he took them under their wing. It was probably about 93. Alfred Papunu got put on waivers by the Kansas City Chiefs. Junior called me up, says, Frankie, I need you to go pick up one of your Damasis from the airport. I says, well, why doesn't Bobby Beathard send his people down there? He says, because this guy's a Damasi, he's a Tongan, his name is Alfred Papunu. We picked him up off of waivers. I went in Junior's Range Rover to pick Alfred Papunu up from the airport. And unbeknownst to me, we related because of Paulina and I said, it's a small world. I was able to meet with all the SC alumni. They took Junior under his wing. Ronnie Lott, Lynn Swan, probably one of the greatest safeties that ever played.
Yes.
Played for the 49ers. I don't know why I have a brain fart here, but he was one of the greatest that ever played. But there was just so many people we rubbed shoulders with. And one of the things that Junior advocated, I'm a slipper, tank top, and shorts. I come from a little rock in the South Pacific, and I'm proud of who I am and what I represent. If it wasn't because of my heritage and where I'm from, I wouldn't be here. Always paid tribute, but during that time, there was a lot of destruction with people calling Junior sellout. During that time, we just kicked off. We lost the Super Bowl to the 49ers. Steve Young was one of his guys. I went to go pick up Tom Brady from the airport. We were in charge of this huge event that we do every year at the La Costa Resort. It's called Legends Night. We were in charge of all the celebrities and people that came into town. And my brother Gus, he lives in Euless, and I went in Capsicahema, Drew Phillip. We were in charge to go pick up all the celebrities. We went and picked up Tom Brady, and he goes, "Are you the Wolfgram?" I go, "Yeah." My sister dated T.C. Wolfgram all the way through high school, and then when he went to Fresno, he broke her heart. Those are some of my best friends, the Wolfgrams in San Mateo. Because of this, Sawaki, I think the greatest thing that we need to do is if we're going to become a great athlete, we need to get back to our community early. We need to start the foundation in college. Don't start the foundation way after your career is over. Build a foundation, build that rock, just like what you have done, Sawaki. You have started, and you have given back ever since the beginning of when you were teaching. Your brainchild, what it was 2 or 3 decades ago, is coming to fruition of what you want. Your plan, you get to live it out now. Your blueprint that you set, Sawaki, is unprecedented. It's last the test of time. It's been battle tested. I remember when Capsicahema, we're probably, he's done my taxes for 30 years. He used to tell me about those camps back in Tonga that he went with you guys.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I've heard more about you, and I've never personally got to meet you. I've got so much family in Laie. It is an honor for me to be on your platform. It is a true privilege to rub shoulders with yourself. You're an icon in this community, and it's been due time that people start recognizing you as an innovative, a love for our people, and giving you your due. So whatever happens in the platform that you have staged, I would hope the Heavenly Father will continue to bless your platform. I will support it. I've got so many stories, Sawaki, of not only being on the Pro Bowl with Vili, giving him an opportunity, Steve Young. I remember Alema Harrington asking me back in '92 when he was with a station there, Frankie, can I get an interview with Junior? Can you hook me up with some other players? Greg Lloyd, probably one of the greatest outside defensive ends, I think, is Derek Thomas from the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. Greg Lloyd, some of the greatest. It's the greatest thing that we could advocate now, Sawaki, is just to tell our story. What is your story?
Yeah,
tell your story. When people get educated, start the foundations early. Don't start it when you're done with college. Start your foundation, preach and teach. That way, when you get to the league, you'll start your foundation. It's rolling. George Tonga started a foundation with Kairos Tonga. It's called It Takes a Village Foundation. They did that his freshman year at BYU. Now, when he gets into the community, he'll come back to Salt Lake and do more in Salt Lake. It Takes a Village Foundation, kind of similar to what you're doing, Sawaki. The most important thing we can teach our children and educate parents is you're in the business of your children. We've forgotten that over the years. Get back to investing in your children. They truly are the future. If we give back, we bobo to programs like this. This is probably one of the best programs in our community right now that we need to advocate for. Like I said, Shiwaki, I've heard you. You're a legend in my book. I've heard about you. I'm so proud and I'm honored once again. But that's basically, San Diego gave me the opportunity, working with the San Diego Chargers for almost 12 years with their PR department, working with the Junior Sal Foundation, all the awarded banquets we've been to. I'm just thankful that this Tamasi Tonga was able to be involved. When Bai came in for the Super Bowl, we were able to work together with him when he came from NBC in Philly. Just like I said, it's Tim Manoa too. Tim came in and supported with Kirk Ola, when he was down here. So we've been able to rub shoulders. Probably one of the greatest running backs that nobody talks about is Pete Tuipulotu.
Yeah.
What a stallion he was when he came in from San Mateo High School. And his kids are over at the Y. DV Mahi is one of my best friends ever since way back when I used to live in San Bruno, and he's from Mills. And his boys are doing well. We all are doing phenomenal, and it's because of these programs. So, Waki, I will always support you and what you have. God bless you all, especially during this pandemic. We're starting to wean ourselves from this, and I appreciate the opportunity. Ofat.
Frank, thank you so much, for the words that you've spoken and the experience that you had with some of the top people in this business. And, you have so much to give. And, I think as we develop, this platform, as we coming slowly off of this pandemic, I think, we'll get together, things that we can do to contribute and encourage our boys. And, even though I may specify here for the Tongan youth athletes, it's when I started long ago, Frank, I was able to count the Tongan boys, the first group of Tongan boys to really do well in college and move on to high school. Definitely Vice Kahema and Filippo Mokofisi, Lake Muli, Tim Manoa, that group of boys, class of 83, 84, was the class that, that I work with, and
Coach, we also have to remember Stanlow Mataele.
yeah. Stanley, man, I'm telling you, when he was hard-headed in high school to getting his biggest moment was when he joined the wrestling team. Because, it's funny, he didn't play football because it was, just kind of hard to get him around to do what he's there. But he made his move, and of course at SAC, with of course with Ken, Kenneth Smith and those guys. But this is the turning point of these individuals, that came together. Of course, later you have Steve Kafusi and the whole group. But you know what, Frank, man, right now, like I said, I was able to have my hands on all of these guys. From the beginning. And it got to a point when there's so many people were coming in, and I started to lose count because there was more and more. I did my homework in the class of 2002 when I was trying to take only the Tongan seniors to the Kingdom Bowl.
Yep.
And you know what? I took about 90% of every Tongan senior who played football, and to do it without the technology nowadays, I don't really know exactly how I did it, but I got them over to fly to meet together in Fiji and goes to Tonga, But I think it's those moments. Of course, at the time, I call it back to the roots. I remember speaking at Hawthorne High School with Pete Garrow. When we had Tus Lutui and them at SC, and I came over because of Chris Mamalanga, and we were trying to put together these guys. And you know what? We were in dangerous ground, Frank, because what happened was there was the gangs, and they called me, and I flew over, and what they did not know, the boys did not know, the Samoans were meeting in the auditorium, at the gym, and we met in a separate room, a smaller room, with the Tongans, youth. And we were trying to prep them to come together. That was dangerous because the heat was on, and they didn't know. And those Samoan, Frank Manmaleunga and those guys were speaking to the Samoan boys while we were speaking to the Tongan boys. And as we escort them to the gym, man, that heat of the moment. Good. Long story short, it was very, very, I know there was gang signs going on. It was not good. But at the end of the day, we played basketball, we mixed, we ate together. It was a beginning of some great things. But,
hey, Coach, I want to add one thing too,
yes.
and I know you won't mention this, and because I know the circles, but there was a lot of Lotokovi during the time you were coaching.
Yes.
And I'm going to bring this up to people. But Coach navigated through it. He did his job. He put his foot to the pedal. But because he wasn't the red-blooded elitist at Kahuku, he wasn't looked at, and his opportunities weren't as great as some other coaches that have come through that institution. But I'm going to tell you right now, Coach, it's because of your toki lalo, because of your love for your people and for the kids, is why you became successful over there, because there was a lot of opposition. You know what I mean, Coach.
I do.
That is a fraternity that no one just comes through and navigates like you did. And I want people to know that you were a pioneer. And a lot of people don't know this, and you have to tell these things. And I'm going to tell it because I'm looking from the outside in. Coach, what you did was, like the Brits say, brilliant. Because that factor that the people call the TRC factor, it's called the right combination. You had to have the right combination of coaches that were able to bow to what you were doing, your plan. Because there was a lot of hateration during that time. First and foremost, because you were Tongan. Second, you weren't from their football, red blood community. But because you did it, you were able to, what they say is, long. And I bow down to that one, Coach. I bow down to what you did because you were innovative. You did what no one else did. And you did it with grace and with honor. And you did it on the field. Smash mouth, helmets and shoulder pads in your face. And when Coach Shaq and those guys came back with their head between their legs because they went there, Ulumaulunga, and they were touted, and those guys were playing Long Beach Poly and all these schools up in LA, and they lost to Kahuku, it raised the bar for them to go back and just kick everyone's tail. And that's what they did. But they did in their Kahuku. So I wanted people to know that, Coach, and I know you're too humble to say these things, but you had to go through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, the opposition. And you know what I mean. And if people out there don't know what I'm talking about, I think you kind of get an idea now.
Thank you, Frank. I think, I always grateful that I had a great family behind me, especially my wife, and went through some very difficult time. And honestly, man, it was tough, but I did not want to lose focus. I didn't lose focus of what I was there to do, and with the blessing for Heavenly Father. Thank you, Frank, for mentioning it. But one thing I think, Frank, that people didn't know is I bring our people together. When I was at the airport for the Kingdom Bowl 2003, I was approached by the governor of Samoa, Governor Tongiola, and they always wanted to have something similar in Samoa. It was rough, and like you said, there was a lot of haters, Tongans, Samoans. For anyone who tried to emerge, to do something, I guess you just have to be strong and have thick skins. And I mentioned to him, there's a lot more Samoans who could do it, but they told me that they have witnessed me doing it in Tonga when there's no football in Tonga. I had to take two teams, to Tonga. Where Samoa, we just have to take one, Long story short, I said, okay, I'll do it, but I can't do it during my season because if I lose this state champion, my community is going to kill me, So I kind of, this is the season, this is in like season of 03. So I played it out knowing, because they came and have dinner with me again for Thanksgiving and see if it's really going to happen. I said, yes, I'll be in Samoa with a team. Believe me, I will. But I can't bring it to the open because I'm in the middle of playoff. And this is in November, And anyway, long story short, I played and won the state champion, I believe was December 3rd. And then on the Monday, the 6th or so, I started to recruit a team. And on the 26th, we were in Samoa to play on January 1st, 2004. And, and I had only 26 players. I had to send for a couple more players, Toyoti, Marina, and, some other players. But people don't know that I did the Samoa Bowl for 12 years, and I spent New Year in Samoa for 12 years, and and came very close with our brothers there, so with everything going on. But yes, we are very talented people, and I think we have lost as many of the successful stories from the Paulies who made it. Frank, you know that there are just as many or more who did not make it because of little wrong turn, and because of that, it encourages me to keep pushing, to reach out, so that no Paulie is left behind, especially the ones who are blessed with the talent, but just needed to be in the right track and the frame of mind with the right support to make it, so and I think that's what get me going, is the amount of people that could be where Junior Seau and many could have been, but because of the transition from Tonga here, or the cultural differences, there was a little lack from parenting, and I wanted to be the parent for every kid, to make sure that there's enough of us to fill in the blanks or fill in what is needed in order for these individuals to make it. Right now I have boys straight from Tonga who playing for USC, San Jose, different colleges right now, and some of my guys straight from Tonga who's graduating with honor from college. And you know what? It's a lot of work, but I believe that if we bring this platform, Frank, and put our mind together and educate our people, there's so many of us everywhere, and I think with this program, I think we'll get to hear from different representatives who bring in different programs that we can establish and travel from state to state, to talk to the parents, to training, more like a hands-on clinic, not just on the football field, but as the academic, the attitude, and everything else, where you guys are knowledge is about, So I appreciate you, Frank, and I appreciate the people who's listening to us now that will share it later. They may take it as next week we'll try to get back to our panel to come back and contribute. The more of us here to share a little bit here and there, I think will lead our people to the right direction. With 15 minutes that we got left, Frank, I need to give you some time to talk about anything as we move forward for me, and I can't thank you enough for you coming, and hopefully next week we'll bring more people, and I try to tell guys, whenever you can and you're available, I'll send you guys the link. Please come in, say a few things. When now you see that we're leading the way, and the people that we have here, I think parents will trust that the information and that we give out, because this is a part of us and what our life is all about. Frank.
You know what, Sawaki, when I look at the ocean behind you, it likens me to what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has said in that Disneyland, Disney production. In order for us to be successful, one must go beyond the reef, must take a chance. It seems to me, Sawaki, you have gone beyond the reef and further. You have casted your net beyond the reef. You have taken a chance like Moana. And because you've done that, because you've been able to sow, you're starting to reap. And that's the greatest thing about Akakai, because one thing is the common denominator. especially with Kakaitonga, is mata ofa. That is the key component of why we do what we do. I've mentioned this before on a different platform, but if we continue to do that, if we continue to teach our children, don't give up. Our children are out there. We're in the business of our children. If we can start to do that, it doesn't matter how late you start, as long as you start and you can continue to contribute. There's a lot of people in different industries. There's a construction industry. There's a toko that's doing very well. His name is Lipe up there in Seattle. I go and browse different people's Facebook page, and I see the success that they have. There's a reason why people have success. There's the little things that they do. It's the little things that make the big things great. Attention to detail. Is the hay in the barn? No. The hay will never be in the barn until you're ready to put it in. When you are a coach, you understand when you teach the children, you need to lead by example. We all have to lead by example for people to see. We all have a story. One of the Vainukus, Tony Vainuku, did a story on football. And I think what he taught in that story is that everyone has a story. We need to tell our story. They call that Talanoa. I love the way you guys have portrayed this. It is so beautiful. It's so simple. And it's just, we go into these Talanoa platforms and we teach. No different than the Savior Jesus Christ did when he was here on the earth. He served people. So, Waki, that's what you're doing. Your example. I'm telling you, I'm going to beat a dead horse, but I'm telling you, it's the desire and the love that you have for people is why you're in that platform, is why you're being chosen by people of Regal and Monarch. And not only that, people that have done things in this world of any stature are bringing you in and your team in because it works. It's a proven product. And that's what I advocate. I'm so proud to be on this platform. When I look at my elders in Baisikahema and Filippo and people that have really initiated this. Lake's son just graduated with my nephew from Stanford 3 days ago. To be able to walk through there with Gabe Reed, Alema Fitsamanu Jr., and Houston Hemuli came across an institution that's Ivy League proportion on the West Coast. Stanford University graduating. Our boys are graduating from these institutions, my family and friends. We've got kids that are playing rugby. I have a niece and other people that have entered Harvard University on a rugby scholarship. Because of COVID, they're back home. There's kids that are going into Princeton. All these different schools, our kids are starting to break those barriers, kick the door down, because we believe we're going outside. We are going outside beyond the reef. We're casting our net a little deeper because we need to believe. I'm thankful for the opportunity that I've been able to meet so many great people. And it's because of our belief in the Savior Jesus Christ. I don't mean to be churchy in that or get in and self-proclaim like I'm somebody. I'm not. I'm just a person. I'm just a conduit, just like we all are in initiating something great. And you speaking about that in Tonga, Soaki, the kingdom. When you say things like that, that's what gets the hair standing up on the back of my neck, because we talk about the homeland, the motherland, and it gives us nothing but great pride. My Uncle George Mann started that Matematonga, started that team back in 95. My cousin Dwayne Mann played for Kelston Boys. in New Zealand was on one of that first team where they almost beat New Zealand. A lot of history, a lot of history. That was Boila, Vaisakahema's grandmother. They was married to Mans. And my area was the Wolfgram Funaki. Then you have the Sams, Taupea. So you have all these people that have come, from the islands that have perpetuated through New Zealand. And that's why we're all here. But I'm grateful, Soaki, for the time that you've given me. It is an honor. And whatever you need, I'm here for you, my brother. I'm here to stand side, rub shoulders with you to help lift our people. Ofatu.
Man, Frank, it's so emotional as we talk, and I can't thank you enough. The Lord, I prayed before I come in today. I was so super busy. I didn't have time to follow up with our panel today. But when you came in, my prayer has been answered. But what you talk about, the different kids that we have, at academic, is going all over Stanford and different schools. Frank, in this program, we want our kids to feel that we're behind them. We like to recognize, our kids in various ages and whatever they're doing. And I think, the support that we witness with the Matematonga, it's the best supportive that, worldwide. And I guess the support that we built the community of Kahuku to have. It doesn't matter how poor, how small it is, in the face of the world, it's like that we have a huge population. And we know when we dominate the Sea of Red, whether it's the Kahuku or the Matematonga, we are small in numbers compared to our competitor, And that's what we want to build here. Our Tongan athletes, our youth Tongan athletes that we have, I want them to build this platform so that they feel that we are watching. Yes, we are aware of what you're trying to do. You're not alone. I want every kid to know that we know his name. We know where you at. I want different representatives from different towns, whether it's Seattle, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, LA, Hawaii. I want them to know that we do know what they're doing and what they're going through. We went through it. We want them to feel that support, and I think, Frank, that is a priceless support. Yes, it takes a village to raise a child, and I just want them to know that it takes a nation to raise, an individual. And, when I was talking with Vice Kahema sitting, in the banquet of about 1,000 people for the Polynesian Hall of Fame, and we had about 3 tables of 10, that in behalf of Vice Kahema, and as I was talking with him, what really matters, it came down to this, Frank. Even though there's 1,000 people that was there, it was the 3 tables of who we were that really matters the most. There's time that you enter a stadium of 100,000 people who's cheering, whether it's the Super Bowl or some of the big games of our boys that play in. But as you see, most people, they're trying to focus on the little area where mom and dad and auntie and cousins are at. Because it is those people who will never forget you. There's time that life move on with NFL, and This 100,000 people will continue to cheer each year for the people at that time. When all these things are over, who's still standing and remember you for what you have done and is there to help and support you is our own people. It's our family, it's our kainga, it's our ainga. And I think with that concept, we want every 8th graders who's starting to work out in the weight room, sitting in the classroom, and doing the struggles with what is needed or what is required to be part of the team and more to be better. I want them to know that Frank is aware of it. Coach Levi does, Tim Manoa, Felipe Tuivai, Vice Kahema, every one of us, we will bring your name and each community will have a representative to gather this information and read off this on a weekly basis so that they know that we know and we support them. And at the end of every year, we'll have a Tongan athlete banquet where we will recognize your effort. We're not here to give out participation trophies, but we are here to recognize you and award those who deserve, who earned to be rewarded. And I think, that's where we're starting to build up. And I have a great feeling that the football season coming up in the fall, we're going to recognize college players, high school players. I think we will need 3 hours in order for people to drop names because we don't want to leave anybody behind on a weekly basis. I want our people to know that we are here for them. We'll support. You may not know us personally. You may not see us right there, but we are connected on this network of who we are as Tongan youth athletes because you matter to us. We support you and we hope and pray the best for you. Thank you very much for being here. On our closing remarks, I want to give you some time, Frank, and then I feel so good. I'm with tears here, Frank, what you brought to the table, and there's thousands of things that we can share. It doesn't matter which angle, who we talk about, which time, whether it's David V. Mahi's time or Rich or Steve Kaufusi's time, I'll have Steve Kaufusi here. I'll have all those guys, sometimes when we get together, I feel the respect from Vice Kahema down to, all the guys that, still in the NFL today. I feel so connected with these guys. Pupunu, talking to him is like, we are one family, Frank, and we're going to bring it all together. Thank you.
Coach, you have mentioned every name you have mentioned. I have a special story about each one of them.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna reserve that story for another time. But those I consider my tokoas.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful. Everyone that you talked to about, everyone that's been on this platform, I've had the opportunity to speak to or rub shoulders or broke bread with them. I'm so thankful for everything that we have, the blessings of being able to leave New Sila, Fitutaha, Alumautoli, Frisco. I thank Tamafa Vainuku, my mom's sister, younger sister, that had the vision to bring us over to New Sila to start a new life. I'm so thankful for the people in the Bay Area, some of the greatest people in the world. I consider some of my closest family and friends. Salt Lake is my home. I'm biased to Salt Lake because I believe wherever you move to, you embrace it because they will embrace you and you elevate. There's a sign everywhere you come into Utah. It says life elevated. Well, Coach, I think that's all we need to do is elevate each other. And I think you've done that very humbly and very eloquent. And like the Britons say, brilliant. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. I appreciate everything that you've been able to do. All these things that are coming to fruition because of your vision decades ago, you can now bring out these bowl games, bringing Tonga out of obscurity, out of a little rock in the South Pacific, into something great, because now we get to blossom like a rose. And that's the exciting. Many are called, but few are chosen. And I believe that the time is now. We have been voyagers, we're navigators, we're warriors. It's time for us to take a stance in furthering the work. I leave you my humble prayer in his name. Amen.
Amen. I want to thank you so much again, Frank. And yes, in the making, I will give you a call. I have programs to follow tonight, but probably tomorrow. I'm heading out to Texas on Thursday when I'm back next week. And Vice Emma is also back. I've spoke with him as well, but we'll put together something. But I'll see you soon. I want to thank all the audience, people that will be. Please share our program, and I think there's some great things that we talk about today, and we'll make it happen for our people. Ofa tu ge tonga kotoa pe, malo apito mo kau mai. Until next week, malo apito ofa tu. Ko au siwa krivai, mo Frank Wolfgram, malo apito ofatu.
Si ekupele pete ui pe te vita la tai maumi no no teu fe pete ke ngalo na ia fete ui pe
Malolele ko kingoa ko le afata mo pia pia ko no fo San Mateo County. Ka taki toko ni mai ke ta ofi ai mafola ai COVID tahiba. Tui ho maske malu ho i hum ho mutu hu whanga whatapu. Mana tu i tauhi ai fute ona wā mama o mo tō taha hoko o ka pau te ke almeo api. O ke whia maha ngai toko ni pe koha wheitu whai anga tesi COVID tahiba. Ka taki al ke website a county smcgov.org malo au pito.
Malo lelei ko hoki ngoa ko se la tūkia, pe a kou tes COVID tahiwa ke lahi taha te ulawa, a upe o whakawiki. O kwhaingo fua, pe tai totongi, pe a lahi mo uwhei tū tesi o kuofi mai pe ki oku api. O kumahu inga ke tau tesi mau pe. Ka pau o tau positive, e lawa whai ngai tokoni, ke whakamawahe i koe mi e toinga ho whamili. Pe tu taki mai ke ua tataha, ke whai ngā tokoni pe, o ke whia mau, ka pau o ku mau koe o ke positive. Maloi lelei, ko hoku ingoa ko sela tūkia, pe kuau os mau e huhu ta ofi o COVID taha hiva, ko uhi, uluaki, ko hoku malui. Ua, o knihanga whakamalohi i hoku immune system, ke ulawa ke te kei ai vailasi, mea nehu mai ki au. Tolu, o mai ki au ai ongo i hao mo malu. Pea wha, to'o ai mo ui tai lili, ho haa, mo mana wahe mea te au.